All right. We're going from offline to online. What is this line, though? And why am I sometimes off of it and on it other times? I don't know. It is stream 58, and I got some ugly code to deal with here. Ugly, ugly, ugly code. So we're in the data tree, which is the thing on the right. And right before I started the stream, I noticed something. There's an alignment issue there. There's an alignment issue there. I need to fix that. That's back in the hex editor. Now that this is nice and refactored, it should be not too hard to find it. Draw header, here we go. Ah, this now. Does not have character width baked into it. But this part, I thought that part's baked into this now. No? I am wrong. Oh, I know what it is. Um, oh, maybe I don't. I'm like, maybe it's the column times the character width. Hold on. Is this have character width baked into it or not? It does not, right? We can't bake the character width into it. Oh, it's this part. Yeah. That goes there. Okay, a little bit of math mistake there. We only want to add the 2 plus inner byte space to the column number, not this column width here. Okay, I fixed that. Now we're moving back to now we're moving back to the data tree. So this whole thing within so the whole thing is within visible root rows. Root row. Actually, if I make this a method of data tree, then I can remove the this part. I'm very inclined to do that. So this would be like a draw row, I think. Draw row. Draw row. Is it down to there or down to a few lines below it? It's down to a few lines below it, maybe. Actually, maybe not. It's a big function. Do I include row height, increment row number, and new selection? We can get rid of y or calculate it from canvas offset and row height if row number was given to us as an argument, right? So what if I just start with refactoring this and we'll pass it in? Or we'll pass in the row number. That's what we'll do. Hold on. So, hey everyone, hold on. Hold on, we're doing this. Okay, that's not where I wanted it to go. So I'm gonna take it again. Cut. right here, the function name, paste. Okay, fun name. It's going to be draw row. Okay, and this is going to have this in front because I want to get rid of this and make it a self. And all of the thises become selves. How many more of thises we got? 2 more? Okay. Then we got a ton of parameters. So let's remove them one at a time. Row height, I should not need because we can calculate that from self. So get rid of row height. Row height is gone. Okay. So like I was saying a little bit ago, this Y can be calculated from canvas offset and row number. So do I need canvas offset anywhere else? Looks like I do. So we're going to keep the canvas offset. We're going to drop the Y and calculate it. So let Y equal canvas offset dot Y plus row number as F32 times row height. Okay, so get rid of the Y. I don't think we need first and last visible row, do we? First visible row. Why do we need this? Isn't that already, oh. Wait, isn't that already baked into visible root rows? Root row! It's not. But maybe it should be. First visible. Okay, so there's stuff that happens before, right? There's the scroll to rect. Okay, but that's gonna... That should be maybe taken out. Or changed somehow. Maybe not. I don't know. Clip top comes directly from the main area top, right? Do we have a clip bottom? No, we just have a clip top. So I only need that because we're already passing in the main area. Clip top goes away. Okay, what is this new selection thing? New selection. Oh, is that result? It is. All right, sort of like a fold. Okay, hover position, num columns. Num columns is also something we can calculate outside. Don't need a num columns. Don't need a num columns. Okay. Still have too many arguments. I do need some of these things like level. Click position. Click position. How is this used internally? It's used way the heck down here. Oh. Okay. Well, I guess we need it. New selection we need it. What's this hover position? Okay, yeah, it goes with click position, so put it there. Hey, A squared, you are first. That's a big function. Yeah, it happened when I refactored some code. So there's just a lot of contextual information when we're visiting the visible rows. It adds a row token, a row, a level, and this new selection has to be folded into the answer. And we're also constructing first and last visible rows. This row number we shouldn't need anymore. Actually, I do need it. I don't need the Y though. That is not used anymore outside of there. Yeah, new columns not needed. I'm trying to see, like, this is only used, oh, it's not read from, right? I guess that's technically a read from. I think we can delete it. So if I could get this thing to also pass in a row number, then I wouldn't need to have it and increment it. You know what I'm thinking, actually? A lot of this stuff, was because of the closure is capturing all that stuff, right? Yeah, it just wasn't visible before. There's so many arguments. It's almost like we need like a drawing context. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional pieces of context in addition to the main area and the UI. And these 3, 4, it's just all this context. Why does it have to be this draw row? What's the self used for? Various things. Getting into the columns, getting into the rows, selected row, font. So clearly it's a method on self. Option. Why is it option? Is that because new selection might be none and selected row is itself an option? Yeah. So I just noticed something. The only reason we're collecting this is to set it on self anyway. So what if I just make it a side effect? I guess it's if selected row is needed early. It is used here. I guess the way I'm thinking about this is if the selection is selecting an earlier row and then the new selection is a later row, we wouldn't get into this if at first, but we would get that and then we would actually paint the old selection first and then we would also paint the new selection. But it doesn't matter whether or not we're putting it into a variable called new selection, right? So I think I can get rid of it, but first let me make sure I didn't break anything with that refactor step. Selection still works. Yeah, so like when I click there, there's probably one frame in which both of these are selected. Actually, it's when I click a later row, right? There'll be a frame in which the signature is still selected and then logical screen is now the new selection. And we wouldn't see it unless we captured every single frame and looked at it. All right, so to get rid of new selection, that means that this doesn't actually need to return a result, which is nice. Oh, but then self has to be mutable, right? That was the original problem, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's why. That's right. We can't update self, so we can't change the selection inside the visitor. So that's why we pulled it out. But if we're going to have to make an object anyway, why don't we just make that object mutable, and then new selection could be part of that, and then we can pull it out here. Right? Like, what if I just take like most of these and put it into a structure of some kind? Draw row context. I kind of don't want to put the UI in there though. Is there a reason why we wanted the row there? Because we get the row token. Can't we get the row from the row token? Hey, David. The Sentilin car. I think it's to avoid this double get, right? All right. Just leave it in there. It's just that it's going to have a borrow in it. Okay, yeah, I don't... Okay, back up to the... Should I leave the UI in there? I feel like it should be separate. And that's because the UI is always separate. So is main area, though. But that's because it's the subject of that. Another reason to get rid of it is because otherwise I have 3 different namespaces I got to deal with. Okay, except for this one doesn't have to be a reference. It can just be owned. Get rid of that, then I only have one row context. Row. This should be super column. Let us sort this. Okay. Having a row token and a row seems odd. Let's see why the row token is needed. Row token. So it's compared to the scroll to. That's one problem. And we have to store it back into the new selection. The row doesn't contain its token. That's one problem. Yeah, it's because it's compared internally. Yeah, this row doesn't contain its own token. It contains the children and parent, but not itself. All right, so if I change this context and keep the UI, but delete everything else. I can't destructure through a reference, can I? Do a massive pattern match in the argument. I could use the row token to get a row, but it's a second lookup. Like we already had to look it up to get that. I'm just wondering, I can't do this, can I? I can? Lets me do that? They'll become mutable references. Interesting. Can I dereference? I can. Huh. But then I probably have trouble moving it out, right? And I do want to update the original, so can I do that? Apparently I can. Except for it's still does that make it a copy? Where am I? Does that mean that this is a copy of that option? Unless I do like a ref in front. Huh. How do you do a mutable reference? Mute? That's the answer. So that's the only one I actually need to mutate. Cool. I just did a really awesome destructuring and mapping. So then I can just construct one, right? And we have no new selection. Because, no, we do have it. I got to get it back out though. I hope this works. And then I have to say new selection equals that, right? Mismatch types. Oh, that's not right. Got to pull it back out of context. Or do I? I think I do. Hold on, what? What? Two arguments? Oh, row token's not in there. Mutable. There, got it to work. Matching away the mute, you don't want it to deref. Yeah, it's a little bit nicer. It's getting there. Basically, I just collected into a structure and name with a name of everything that's needed. So as long as nothing broke here. Yeah. This is like everything that's needed to draw a row. So the ugliness is that we have to construct a context And then we have to destructure the context. Which is ugly. So the visitor pattern might not actually be the right thing to do here, right? Because the visitor pattern requires that I do a borrow of self so that I can't actually like, well, take that back. It's the fact that I have to have a function object at all. Well, also that there's just too much contextual information. I think what I actually want here is two structures. One that collects these 4 things, and the other one that collects the rest of them, and then I passed both of them in. So one is like the overall drawing context, and the other one is for the row itself. And that would include the row number. So it would be the level, select, new selection, and all the row information. And this other stuff is sort of constant. I don't know if it really matters though. Maybe just do that later. Let's refactor the rest of this now. Okay, this is if the role to scroll to found, tell the UI to set the scroll position to the current vertical offset. Yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Hi, what is this rogue stint? Okay, seeing as how the rest of the function is inside one huge if, I can turn that around, right? I can say if this is less than or equal to, or this is greater than, return. Remove this brace way down there. Let's put a comment above that. Don't draw anything. Don't draw the row if because this is only supposed to draw one row, right? Is it true that you are AOC dev? No, it is not true. Hi there, Venkest3. Does Rust Analyzer have an invert if help? I don't know. As far as I know, there's only one AOC dev. And that is Eric. As far as I know, he's the only AOC dev. He makes it. Now, I do participate in admin of code by trying to solve the puzzles. So in like half a month from now, I'll probably be trying to do that. I'm trying to understand why do we why are we including the visible descendants here? Like why am I bothering with this total visible descendants? Probably shows you the cursor on if and you press control space. There's a replace if with match, but there's no I guess you would want me to go back and see if it would have been able to invert the logic and do the early return if I did it the other way. Okay, so cursor's on the if. Convert to guarded return. Oh, it has it. It just had to know that. But it did a negative logic, which I don't like. Can like I tell it to invert the logic here? Okay, well, I guess I gotta do it myself, right? That should be something it could do, right? Maybe it's too complicated though. Yeah, it's better than nothing. Probably a clippy lint with an autofix for Boolean logic. I just don't like negatives in if statements anymore because I think it makes it harder to read. There's a whole SAT solver and clippy for this. So yeah, maybe. But why am I including this total visible descendants? Like what happens if I don't do this? Let's say I comment this out, right? And now it's just like only considering the row itself. Does this, how, actually, I think I can answer that question, but I have to expand some stuff first to see that. Yeah, see that? It's the side effect of those vertical lines. See that? So it's doing more than drawing the row. We must be doing something here. Oh, it doesn't just draw the row. It also draws a marker, a line that goes down, right? Okay. That kind of makes sense to me now. It's only those vertical lines, right? Yeah, okay, so it's the vertical line. It draws not only the row, but it also draws this vertical line all the way down to here. So what I can do is I can have it just draw the vertical line and then the rest of the function can be returned early after that. So let's do the vertical line drawing here. Where is that? That will be down here somewhere. Line segment, the plus dashed line. That's the horizontal line. I need the vertical line. This one, right? Yes. Okay, so it's this code that I want. So it has no side effect, right? In fact, I should probably just refactor it first, right? Refactor function. Okay, row height can be recalculated from there. We don't need to pass it. Fun name. Sure is fun. Find the fun name. Can't find it. There it is. Row height. I like putting the UI last. And let's put the level in front. X and Y, and then UI. Wait, what? Hold on a minute. All right. Sorry about that. So this is draw. What is that vertical line called? Like line to descendants? I think descendant is an A, but I can never remember. I always have to look it up. If I spell it with an E, what does it say? So it is another word. It's an adjective. This is the noun, right? The noun is with the A. Okay. Okay. So can I do that nifty little guarded return? I can. Only I need to reverse it myself. So if I take the not away, then I need to put the not here, and or do an or less than or equal to 0, which would be equal to 0. Correct. Okay. Find it. The X and Y. Okay, the level and the X are kind of baked in together, right? That's the only place where X is actually used. I'm going to continue passing it in, but I want to pre-calculate this. Okay. Probably could do a little bit more work there, but okay, anyway, the whole point was to take this out, right? And move it up. It's inside a conditional. What kind of conditional is it inside of? If columns is empty, or the width of the first column is greater than 0. And we're setting a clipping area on the... Okay, we're constructing a clipping area, so maybe that should be done first. Okay, this area here, right? What else are we doing? This is a horizontal line. The horizontal line to the row, right? Yes. And then this is either the plus or the minus in front. If it has children. Okay. So I know I don't need to do... So I think I'm just going to copy this logic then. But if I copy that logic, I gotta do the clipping thing too, don't I? And including that, sending it back to the main area. Ah, boy. Well... Yeah. Shows the cursor at the end of the token. Not sure exactly what the conditions are. If it's not expanded or doesn't have children, doesn't draw a line to its children. Yeah. So the problem I'm facing now is that this returns early for fewer rows than it should. If we're including its visible descendants, then we're only going to draw the vertical line part. But that vertical line part drawing is inside of this clipping area, which we still need to do elsewhere. Oh, I think I know what I can do. I know what I can do. We can do the clipping first. Then do this part. Then we can check a more constrained return here. So it's just +1 now instead of row extent. But before we return, don't I need to restore the clipping rectangle? I don't know if I need to or not, but it's sort of polite to do so, isn't it? Oh. Can you fix it? It can fix it. So this is just a optimization that if we're outside of the first or last visible row, we might need to draw a line to the row descendants. So we do that first, and then we say, okay, we don't need to draw any more, so we just bail out from there. So this is skip drawing anything if the row and all its descendants are not visible. This is draw the tree structure for this row and its descendants. Well, partly. Let's say draw the tree line structures for this row. That's actually true because the vertical line goes with the parent row. So this is a clip to the first column. Then do that. We'll just add to this the vertical lines drawing the vertical lines is the responsibility of the parent row. Okay. If the well, the rest of the this is all going to be refactored into draw line structures for this row function soon. So what I'll say here is the rest of the line structures, the rest of the structure drawing for this row is only visible if the row itself is visible. Okay, and this part is draw a box, not bow, box with either a plus or minus symbol inside if the row has children. The box is meant to be clicked on in order to expand or collapse the child rows. Wow. My error rate on the keyboard today is pretty high. That's that. So this is if the row has a parent, draw a horizontal line from the parent's vertical line over to the row's column, the row's name. That's fine. Row's name, I'll know what that means. And this is like restore the original clipping area. Okay, now I'm gonna do what I said and refactor this whole thing out. This is draw row tree structures. Worst, not worst. Draw row tree structures. Who wrote the word worst? Where did that come from? Okay, too many things. Okay, where did that go? Way up there. Oh man. I mean, actually, a lot of the stuff was common context. So now I'm thinking maybe the context that I made up here, I should just kept it. Hey there, Ramy. How are you? Okay, so similarly, yeah, I think this context is we just carry the context. So it makes me think that instead of destructuring it, I should have just used context. Yeah, let's just use the context instead of all these things. So there's gonna be a lot of context dots, but that's okay. I'm having an okay weekend, Rami. I'm having trouble staying motivated, and I don't really know why. Okay, so here I hope to just pass in all of the okay, this weird stuff here, I don't need to have that, right? I don't know why it did that. I should be able to just pass in the context. Context and the UI, right? Because I left that out of purpose. Context. Row context with a UI. Why is this returning an option? None. Oh, because of the early return. Okay. You relate to that feeling so much right now? Context infection, yes. Yeah, sometimes I guess I just have to accept I won't be as motivated sometimes, right? All of these spots have context dot in front. That, right? No? What's wrong here? Cannot be dereferenced. Because I don't need to dereference there? Oh, I lost my multi-cursor. Multi-cursors are cool and awesome. Context dot. Context dot. Okay, clip top is not something that's in our context. I think it's because clip top was a local variable constructed from this one. So why don't I just copy this stuff? Yes. So pasty paste. Yeah, there's no clip top in context. It just is the clip top. Something about this feels a little wrong. The fact that I'm putting context everywhere. I don't know about this. You know? Almost feels like it should be inverted. And maybe this becomes a self somehow to a context, maybe? Okay, now this early return business. Why am I doing an early return? And why do I need an X? Don't need a clip top anymore there. And this didn't need an X, and it didn't need X to be mutable. Okay, yeah, why are we using an X? What if I don't use the X? What happens? Okay, so we do need an X down there. What is this X for? It's just a canvas offset X. So why don't I just oh, this does have an early return. Okay, first things first. So this needs an X, right? It does need to return it. Let's just return this for now into a if it's none, or how about just if not, then return. Or why don't we just invert that, because I can. And make this return a bool. And where we early return is a true. Otherwise it's a false. Okay, apparently X needs to be mutable. So why do I have an early return? Oh, first I should make sure this didn't break anything there. Smells a bit? Yeah, code smell. Well, I frequently do discover these things while I'm refactoring, right? Code smells that were buried. I mean, it works. Vertical lines are not disappearing. Okay, I need to let my cat out of the room though. You need out? You need out? Go on. Not broken. Not broken is good. Okay, where is this early return? Right here. Oh, I see. So the reason why there's an early return is if we know we don't need to draw the row. But it's not too expensive to just repeat that logic, right? This right here. I feel like it's appropriate because there's two different reasons. Here we're returning because we don't need to draw any more of the tree structure. Here we know we can return because not the row, the column, the columns don't need to be drawn. Nothing more needs to be drawn if the row is invisible. So then I don't need this one to actually tell me that decision. It's returning for the same reason. No, it's returning for the same cause but different reason. It's returning early because we don't need to draw the plus minus or any of that other stuff. So it's just a return. No return value needed. No value at the end. Okay. Click to the first column, draw the vertical lines, draw the box, the plus and minus in front. Okay, that we already said in the parent comment, right? This is the vertical line to make it a plus. Draw the box. Draw a horizontal line. If row isn't expanded, draw a vertical line to turn the minus into a plus. Okay, so shouldn't this entire thing be inside of a function? Refactor function. Draw draw a box thing. Draw expandable. Draw expandable widget. Draw expandable. I don't know what to call this thing. Expandable indicator. For row. How about draw row expandable indicator? We don't need a row height. The X and the Y are also constant, right? Well, why is Y mutable? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong place. Looking at the completely wrong place. And why does it say fun name still? Fun should not say fun name. There. Oh, because this needs to be self, because we don't want to pass a row height. And this should probably be context. X and Y are immutable, right? Yeah. Context and UI. Yeah, these we can just recalculate inside there. Okay. Okay. Need to pull that back in. So into the clipboard you go. Paste there. Okay. Draw row expandable indicator. In refactoring phase because you're done with the functionalities, optimizing anything for a first version. I'm not optimizing everything. I'm refactoring. I'm on step 2. 1, make it work. Here, I'll show you it working. And it's iterative. I don't make everything work before I make the next step. See, this is all functionally working now. I can click on stuff. Maybe you missed that part. That was like last couple streams. So we can either click on the left or the right, and you get correlation between the values decoded and the original bytes. So I made it work. Now I need to make it right. And if this is the optional third step is to make it fast. You don't always have to make it fast if it works and it's made right. You also don't always have to make it right. If it's a one-off project, you only really need to make it work. Yeah. So it's just that the code was really ugly. And I do this iteratively. Like there are other things on my to-do list that I'll get back to, like this stuff. These things. But if you wait too long to refactor, you end up with too much of a mess. Draw horizontal line. So I already have the draw line to row descendants. What if I call this draw line? It's only one function call though. I'm gonna refactor it anyway. Function draw line from parent from parent line to child. How about complete line from parent to child? Okay, I gotta move this around because it didn't understand that I wanted to keep the self in there. So pasting we go, and we're gonna do self, and we don't want row height. We're keeping the context, so I don't need the X or the Y. Self.funName context UI. Yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe these shouldn't be methods on the self. They should be methods on the draw row context. And the draw row context can actually have the self in it. That way I wouldn't have to keep recalculating things like the X, the Y, the row height in every one of these. They can just be like local to the context, calculated one time. So Y is only calculated once, right? So I'm adding half a row. So what if I just say this plus a half? And then I don't need to say this. I don't know why I'm adding. Well, that was to. I was adding one because I was being nitpicky about making it pixel perfect at the time, right? Okay. Okay, now this is a lot easier to read. It's just that we have this context that maybe that should be the self, and then I wouldn't need to be like recomputing this junk, maybe. Well, I've split it all out for drawing part of it, the row tree structures. Now I have to deal with draw the text in the rows columns. And this also handled some interaction, right? Okay, we use the column indent and we don't use the X. So this kind of goes with that and it's done before the drawing happens. So this is if the row itself, not the tree structure, if the row itself was clicked, not its tree structure elements, set it up to become the new selection. So the way we set it up is we update the context new selection in the context to say that. Hold on a minute. Okay, part of the pancake. But it's like afternoon. No. Apparently, pancakes are being made. And I'm like, it's already the afternoon. A little late for pancakes. I declined the pancakes. So if it's selected or it's hovered, we draw a rectangle around it, right? Wait, this is identical code. The positions are the same, right? So if it's selected or we're hovering over it, we need a rectangle. And the only difference in the drawing of the rectangle is the color. So wouldn't we say like if let some selected or drawn, if some color equals self dot is row selected or hovered, row highlight. Given what? Well, is selected, it all comes from the context, right? What's this first column color, non-first column color used for? Oh, it's used down there. Column color. What are we doing with column color? Oh, we're picking different text. Okay, so shoot. Then we need to have a default. Okay, so this is like background. So we get a bunch of things out. Background color. Yeah, these things, right? First column and non-first column. I need to use different names though. Could put highlight in front of them. So yeah, these get reassigned if row highlight is true. And we do some painting. We paint a filled rectangle with the highlighted background color, right? Yes. Paste. Okay, so I need that function to exist, please. Option. Color, 3 colors, right? Okay, and to do for now. Call hierarchy. Okay, so this moves into there. Basically, this code here moves into here. Only we don't do any drawing. So it's sum. Here are the colors. Delete. Then it's sum. I'm gonna do returns here to make it easier on myself, because then I can just have a none here. Okay, I need a Y, I need a row height, I need a column indent. I need those things. So Y. Just copy all this stuff. Then I don't have to think. I can just paste. Oh, we need a UI. Because that holds the font. And we need a column indent. Column indent. Okay, well that we can calculate separately, right? Row height. Well, hold on. This one, I don't want to really duplicate that logic everywhere. Can I well, hold on. I'll just copy this and make it another function. Column indent. Row height. Copy again. And need the UI. This makes me think maybe the UI does belong in draw row context. Okay, so then, yeah, this is where we need these, yeah, this needs the UI. Where is it? Column indent right here. Column indent is column indent context UI. So then I need that down here as well. It needs the column indent. Okay, didn't need that or that. Yeah, I'm like, I don't need to make a common function for that because that just, that's not going to change. But the redundant calculations, maybe we build it into the draw row context when we construct it. That might be a useful thing to do. But let me finish the refactoring we're doing. Okay, so draw the text in the rows. So this is drawing the highlights, right? So that we're not doing there, doing here. And here we're actually determine what colors to draw the text with. and draw a highlight. Draw any needed highlight rectangle and determine what colors to draw text with, period. End of story. Not actually using X there. Probably using it there. All right. It's not really row highlight, is it? It's like row determine row draw colors. And I kind of feel like that should be a structure, not a tuple. Oh wait, it's an option. Shoot. So it's not exactly what this is. Back. It's actually two things. It's determine if we should highlight the row, and if so, what colors to use both for the highlighting and the text. So it's like determine row highlight and colors. The other way to do this would be to give it mutable access to these, and as a side effect have it set these for me. Anyway. Okay, so the special code if there are no columns, then we just take the first value and we have to have, okay, if there's no value, it's just empty string. And we're going all the way, what is this? Width? I don't even think this is correct. Shouldn't it be X plus? This actually might be wrong. There's a way I could test this. Let's make sure it works, and then what I'll do is I'll just remove the add columns thing and see if it still works. I'm gonna guess it does not. Okay, my colors are all wrong too. I guess I got them scrambled. Okay, let's fix the color order. Background first. Nope, I got it wrong. It's first, non-first background. That's the danger with tuples. Okay, it's not broken, right? Now what happens if I remove the columns from the GUI's lib? So actually is that app? When we construct it, I think. It's this info overlay, right? New. Ah, here we go. So comment out the columns and see what happens. It's supposed to just use the whole width for the single column. I guess it is working. Actually, I think it's going wider than it should, but it's hard to tell. It's not a rounded rectangle there, I think. Now it's a rounded rectangle, so the geometry of the highlight rectangle is wrong, and I think also the clipping rectangle is wrong. Oh, no, those actually look okay to me. So wrong, I was wrong about that. Oh, wait. It was okay until it added the scroll bar. Now it's like bleeding into the scroll bar. Okay, so was it doing that? I don't know now. Did I check it with the scroll bar with the columns added? So, oh yeah, it's the same problem. So, moment it adds the scroll bar, yeah, you can kind of see it there. It doesn't, it's not clipping against the area taken up by the scroll bar. This does that, right? I think it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, so we just aren't clipping correctly against that scroll bar. But that has nothing to do with these columns existing or not. So it's a separate bug. Okay. Since it's not clipping, we don't actually know if it's drawing too far or not. If columns is empty, min with size. The size is width, the main area width. So I think it's just if the main area is not computed correctly. It probably isn't being. So, okay, I'm just going to say it works. This code's tested. So this is if there are, I don't need this. This is if there are no columns, then it's just a single column data tree with no header. Otherwise, it's multi-column, and then we're looping for all the columns. We're breaking out if the column's not visible, it's off the right edge. Figure out the width of the column based off if it's the last one or not. We use the color based off if it's the first column or not. If there's a value for that row in that column, then we draw it, and then irrespective, we advance. So I guess I just shunt this all into a helper called draw row columns, right? Refactor function draw row columns. All right. So yeah, num columns. Row height and Y, right? Can be pre-calculated. Num columns, row height, and Y. Also column indent. Because that is just this. Do need those two colors though. There we go. One unneeded thing. Oh, we didn't need the num columns. Okay, good. So draw row now is this handle the scrolling, skip if it's not visible, draw the row tree structures, or exit, there's nothing more to draw. Otherwise, we see if you clicked it, then determine the highlight and draw the highlight, then draw the rest of it's just draw row columns. That's just because the method was getting kind of long. So yeah, this, I think that we should take this and make them separate methods. So refactor function. This is draw row without columns. Text, right? Okay. Those are the things it should need. No X, that goes there. Calculate everything else it needs down in here. Doesn't need those two. All right, and then, oh, it needs X. But it's not mutable. Correct. It is not mutable. Okay, then in the else, it's draw row text with columns. Say that. Okay, again, no X, no num columns. We need the colors. We don't need those. All right. So all of this goes into here. We don't need that or those three, any of that. Don't need any of that. Cool. So can I turn this into a continue? No, I can't. It's like that extra indent. I don't like it. I guess this would be like draw row column. I don't know how ugly is this going to look though if I extract it as a function. Kind of ugly. Because it needs the X this time. Column indent and Y and width and row and all that stuff, no. It does need the row column. And it needs a color. Move the UI last. So then context and then X. No column indent, no Y. No column width, no row height. UI is last row column. Okay. So then this stuff without the X, because X is passed in. Column width. Oh, that needs to be passed in. Okay. Don't need the num columns. Don't need Y here. Don't need the row height. Why are we subtracting the column indent? What's that about? That didn't break anything, did it? Go too long between tests of refactoring and you don't know where you break things. I think we're still good. Yep, still good. All right, so then what's the deal with this if column is 0, go back up the column indent? I don't know. Unless the column width includes the indent? Oh, it does. That's right. So I should probably have a comment here. The first column width includes any indent. So don't count it twice. Actually, that's part of what we do here. Advance by the column width. First column width includes and it includes any indent, so don't count it twice. There we go. So stop drawing if we go past the end of the visible area. This is extend. Well, really, if the column extends beyond the right edge or is the last column, use the remainder of the horizontal area. Okay. Select color based on whether or not this is the first column. And then actually, if we're not drawing, we still have to advance by this, but like if we weren't drawing, we really didn't need to do any of this, any of that, right? So can't I move this into here? Yes, I can. We still need to compute the width because we need that to advance. So draw if there is text for this column in this row. I have another if inside of here though. So I guess that's going in here. Draw if there is text for this column in this row and the column is actually visible. Because it's possible that it's not because of this. It might be indented too far. Say draw the text using a color based on whether this is the first column. All right. So that indent thing, let me illustrate that. So if like I were to drag this all the way to the left there, there's no point drawing the part name for these because you can't see it anymore. But now you can see it, right? So if I drag it far enough here, now it's invisible. So why not? Why draw it, right? Let's see if I can fix the scroll bar thing. So that's gonna be somewhere in where it's like the thing that calls the draw main area, right? Would be just draw right here, right? It's gonna be, I think, inside this I think what it is it does this inner rect, right? And it only uses it to compute the canvas offset. But really, that is the main area. Yeah, so what if I don't pass in the main area? And we compute the main area from the inner size. So that needs to drop down to here, I guess. It doesn't matter where. No, it does matter. And then main area is this inner rect. Let's see if that fixes it. I think that will, because now it won't, the scroll bar will be considered outside that main area. Yep, fixed it, right? Collapse this, and now it extends all the way. Yep, you can kind of see it. You can kind of see that the rounded end of that shift over to the left. Nice. Yep, and there's a tiny little margin. Tiny little margin. That's easier to see if I were to start a Magnus. Let's move the Magnus to here. Show me. So if I like see that little margin to the right of the E and the clipped off double quote, there's a little margin, and then there's the black column for where the scroll bar is. So yeah, I think it's looking good. Except for I just noticed something. We're continuing to draw stuff that's invisible. See that? It's drawing off the top there. Okay, what does that tell me? I think it's drawing in the correct spots, right? So if I click like on the last byte of the file, it'll scroll to the bottom eventually, right? Why is it taking so many clicks to click there? Okay, that was weird. Anyway, like the scroll position of the selected row is correct, but the logic in knowing whether it's off screen or not is broken. Yeah, the top and bottom. It's like the logic for knowing if it's visible. It's this thing is wrong, right? So it's this top and bottom is not correct anymore. We're not passing it anymore, but it would be nice to see. So we have canvas size. What if I, okay, what if we just do dbg canvas size and main area? Okay, and then make it scrollable. The canvas size is very large. And the main area should, yeah, see how the main area goes, like, it's actually giving, it's implying the scroll region. Oh, wait. I think it actually might be clipping, but it's clipping way up here rather, see, if I scroll to the top, it's not 0, it's 67. So it's actually not giving me the the rect it's giving me the rectangle, like the scrolled version of the rectangle. How does this work? It has to do with the this draw main area, right? Draw. Let's debug this. See both of the rectangles. So there's the main area, and then when we put it in the vertical area, then it gets slightly shorter horizontally if there's a scroll bar, but then it's also shifting it, right? So there's the main area. See how the top is aligned now? They're both 67. But now the main area is actually larger, so yeah. I do want this original rectangle for like where we're gonna clip to vertically, right? See how the we want this 1170 because that's inside the scroll bar. I don't want the 1182. If I collapse it, they're the same. They're both 1182, right? So I want the horizontal component from inside the scroll bar, the scrolled region. But see how I scroll, like, we really want to clip to 67. We don't want to clip to negative 326. So think what that tells me is I need I need that as the I need the vertical coordinates of this as the clipping region on the inside. It would be nice if eGUI gave me a rectangle that was to up to 1170 horizontally and up to 523 vertically. Do I just need to take the intersection? I think that's it. I need to take the intersection. Main area should be from parent UI. Right, but I need to intersect with the rectangle I get back from inside. What was that? So yeah, we do need to pass this main area in. So this is the outer clipping rectangle, right? I don't know why I bother setting the clipping area. I don't think I need to do that anymore. But we do need to pass in it, and it's not the main area. So what is this exactly? That is the main area, but it's the main area outside with the scroll bar. So there's like an inner and an outer main area. Draw a main area, and then it gets this extra rectangle. Oh, I wanted to put the UI last by convention. First, before I change it, let's call this thing something else. This is like, I call that inner area, right? This is the inner canvas. This is the canvas area, really. And let's call this one the outer, main area outer. Or clipping outer, or container area. And I need to take their intersection, really. This is the canvas area is the canvas offset is the canvas area min to, but then the clipping rectangle is not. So this is where the main area comes in. Let main area equal container area intersection with the canvas area. I guess I didn't need to debug this. Although maybe it would be good to debug them just in case. Scroll container? I didn't want this to know that it's being scrolled per se, but I guess with this offset, we are sort of saying that it is scrolled. Container. Let's print all three. Although I have a feeling I'm not going to need it, that this will just work. So main area is the intersection of what we get from the container and what we get from the scroll region, I think. So now when we scroll, we're correctly clipping there. And we're also correctly clipping where the scroll bar is on the right. So it's a slightly different sized rectangle. See that? It's 1170 instead of 1182. So part of it is from the, how come that's only showing one thing there? Oh, because I did canvas size. I didn't mean to do that. I wanted canvas area. So we need contributions or an intersection between the container and the canvas, because the canvas area incorporates the right scroll bar. So that's the canvas area. So we need the horizontal component of that so that we don't overdraw the vertical scroll bar, but we need the container area's vertical component to know where to clip to vertically, because the canvas area is a virtual space that moves when we move the scroll bar, but it also incorporates the the vertical scroll bar, which the container didn't take into account. So by intersecting the two, we get the clipping rectangle, the correct clipping rectangle, including the scroll bar, and we use the canvas area. The minimum of the canvas area tells us how far the scroll bar has scrolled. As a difference between, or as a, we have to take the difference between that and the container area's vertical component, basically, to tell us how far we scrolled. That's what I do, right? To get the first visible row. Yeah, so clip top is the main area top minus the canvas area offset, and then divide by the row height. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad I got that figured out. Okay, so yeah, I'm kind of thinking that what I'm going to end up doing is all of this calculation, just do it once, and then put it into this context, and then make like a lot of these other functions like functions on that context.
Her color's on.
collars on. Look, it's a kitty. Kitty who wants me not to hold her. She'll still eat. Wait, what's this? I know, cool cat. She's a cool cat most of the time. Except when she's trying to get your attention, then she becomes mischievous. Cat good, cat stream, Raimu stream. This thing, I don't quite like it. Why did I add 5 rows to it? This is a hack, right? To make it scroll, always scroll to 5 rows below what we click on. It always wants to put it at the bottom, which is weird. Even if it scrolls up. Clicking on the next one to the left of it. Oh, because that doesn't go anywhere. Collapse that. Just looking at the behavior of this when it has to open it. So I have an idea of how to fix that. It's that scroll to stuff that doesn't quite work. I think what we do is we only do this if it didn't expand the row. It has to be expanded all the way up too. So what if we just add a clause here? And self.all ancestor, well, fully expanded. Row fully, or how about we just say row visible? Row fully expanded? No, row visible? But visible could mean 2 things. It's just off the screen or it's hidden. How about row ancestors expanded? She wants to play. She's like, oh, this is a new game. Scroll to, right? Context.row token. I should use this, shouldn't I? Okay. So we need to actually just say if let some row equal self rows get row token. It's always going to be some, right? Expect row should be found. If row.parent. Then it's itself row ancestors expanded parent. Else it's true. Problem is we're never looking at the expanded flag, right? This is just going to return true. I could look at the row's expanded flag, but then it'll say false if the row itself that we select is not expanded, which I don't want. So maybe I make another function, row or ancestors expanded. This, and then this would be false. No, that would be true. That would only be the case if you click on a top level row. So here it would say if not row expanded, return false. And this should be row and ancestors expanded. Okay, I think that was it. So now if I click something that's not yet expanded, it shouldn't select it until all of its ancestors have been expanded, and then it should select it. So if I click on one to the left of the trailer, if I click on the trailer, it should select it. If I click on one left of the trailer, so it didn't scroll to it at all. It should have though. So that didn't work. That didn't work. I was hoping that would work. For a minute. Go on. I just noticed something that there's a that's an option and we do an asref. We're not taking out of the option. So I wonder if this is the second part of this. It's set to none there. Okay, is that the problem? I think that is the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. We don't, if I don't set that to none, I think it will work now. Because what we'll do is it'll just keep retrying the scroll to. But it'll never get reset, so the scroll bar will be essentially locked in place now by the selection. See, now I won't be able to scroll, right? Yeah, see, it's snapping it. It's snapping it back to that row until I select something else. Yeah, see, it's just trying to always snap to that. Interesting that it's like jumping like that. Weird. Okay, so basically we need to tell it when it actually gets to that where it actually does this grow to, then it's got to clear it from self, right? Problem with that though is that I think it's immutable at that point. It's like I can't, yeah, see, itself is immutable. So context is mutable though. I think that's the difference. You got to put something in here to tell it like, I'll just keep it simple. Scrolled Boolean, and we'll just say if scrolled, then scroll to is none. Scrolled false. Okay, and then we need to set it to true if we get into here. And on the way back out, wait. Okay. Here this is immutable. So I need to bring it back out of the context. I need to push it into this thing actually now. So it has to be like this. Right? Yeah. What? Is that because this takes an option? Arr, arr. Okay. Um, this is terrible. This is terrible. This is horrible. You guys are gonna hate me for this. Actually, I can't even do that. I have to fix this. The fact that I have this option R is a problem because I want an unoptional true or false also out of this. So this really just needs to be an R. Why is this an option at all? Why isn't this just an R? This should just be an R. Same here. R. Okay, why is this a problem? Expected an option. Why did it expect an option? Oh, because of... Oh, shoot. Okay. I'll be right back. Did you enjoy the chair stream? Chair stream's better than cat stream, which is better than a Ramu stream. All right. I think the problem I have here is that we have a visitor, but I also want a piece of it to come back out. So I think I want another argument. We want the visitor to be consumed, but we want something else to go in that the visitor gets to mutate. And then that just gets passed back out. No, not a real visitor. We're using the visitor pattern. We're basically telling the data tree to visit every node of the tree with by calling this with it. So it gets a row token row level. So these are essentially what we're going to give the visitor. I don't want this to be in here at all. Actually, why can't it just capture on... Why can't I just capture on something? Like, we can just invent something here. Scrolled equals false, right? Let mute new selection equals none, right? And then don't have this. We don't need to put it into the context. Or do I? Actually, I do because I want that to be in there. So scrolled will be copied. And it'll come back out. So yeah, exactly this. No, I don't need it to go into the context. I know I do. Right, it goes in, it comes back out. Yes. Okay, so then this doesn't actually need to pass it in or pass it out. It doesn't need to return, it doesn't return anything. We don't need to return anything. There is no R. There's no R here. There's no result. There's no assigning to result. That goes away. Okay, and this also doesn't have an R, nor does it return anything, nor is there a value there. There is no result. Nothing gets returned. It's all side effect of the visitor, so there's no assigning of it, there's no passing it in. There's no doing that or passing it in. There's no returning it. What's wrong here? Oh, there's no result equal. And there's no result passed back out. There's no initial result. So now it's, okay, that's probably how it should have been all along. It's just, this is a mutable closure, and it just holds mutable references to this scrolled and new selection. They're just captured. See, you can tell it's captured because when I click on it, it brings me out of the closure. Okay, now what are my errors here? Okay, so it's because I called them here. Right, so selected row is gonna be Wait. So token used to be the result that we returned here, right? So instead, I want to say, let token equal none. And then this just assigns the token. So token equals sum. Okay, I need another name here. So what are we doing here? It's like selected token. Why do I have selected row and token? Oh, it's expanded row or collapsed row, right? Right, because when, okay, so there are two things you could happen. You could either select a row or you could toggle a row. Yes. So this is toggle, this is let mute. And these are both tokens, right? Yeah, so selected row, toggled row. Selected row, toggled row. So this is toggled row. And then I don't really need an else, right? What's this found thing? Oh, yeah, so what could I do here? I could just not use an option. So I can have enum. Can I declare an enum inside of a function? I think I can, right? So result or something. None. This is really gonna irk some Rust people. Clicked and toggled, right? So this is like, this becomes result. And then we don't need this found here anymore. It's just if result is sum. So we can have an imp. Can I have an impl inside of here? I can. Function is sum. Match self. None. False. Anything else true. So this is just an early return if we found a result. So here it's result equals result clicked. Well, it's not, shouldn't be clicked, it should be toggled. And then return. Although we're doing an else, so it doesn't really matter. And this is selected. I totally borked that one, didn't I? This Rust code B, it should be confusing you because I overloaded the word result here. I probably shouldn't have done that because I made a local type called result. Here, we'll name it something different so it doesn't confuse you Rust people. So this should be like a click result. And maybe instead of none, we'll say nothing clicked or nothing. So we either click nothing, our click result is we toggled something or we were selected something. There, now that we're using all different words, it should be good, right? So should be click result nothing is the default. And then maybe instead of doing an is sum here, maybe we just say, does it equal click result nothing? If it's not nothing, right? So pretty sure I'm gonna have to do a derive here. Partial equal for that. Okay, and then we don't return anything. So this should be match click result. So nothing goes to none. So does toggled, because the whole thing is like, maybe not obvious, but it's like, did we select something, right? So toggle is also none, but we have a side effect here. And selected token is we return some token. All right. It's this stuff we need to do in here. So this is let well, really let row equal, and this had better be something, right? Row, clicked row not found. If row expanded token. So we get the row. If it was expanded, collapse it. Otherwise expand it. So that's the result of this. There we go. I did it. How do you get that refactoring window to pop up? It's either you look for the light bulb. I'm not seeing it. For me it's command dot. Or if you select a bunch of stuff, I right click and I see refactor. So there's a couple different things. So for me it's Control Shift R or right click and hit refactor. Or if it's one of these where there's like a warning, there's like a little light bulb and there's a quick fix. And for me the light bulb is also command dot opens it up. So what did it not like about this? It has a unit value because this is no longer true, right? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so this new selection and scroll doesn't matter anymore. We're just running that code and then it's updating new selection. There we go. All right, let's see if we broke it. It doesn't look like I broke it. Oh, the true test is if I click on the last one, does it scroll to it? Okay, and if I collapse all of that, if I collapse everything here, and then I click that byte again, does it open and then jump to it? Yes. Sweet. So we fixed it. So now it always, nope, there's a bug. There's a bug. It's snapping. So we're not done. It's still snap. Oh, because I never actually used that variable, right? There was the scrolled and we never used it. I need to use it. Actually, here's where I need to use it, right? If it was scrolled, then self.scroll2 is none. That basically says if we applied the scroll2, now we can clear it. We can't do that inside of here because this was immutable. Okay, so the test again. I click on the byte next to the trailer. Okay, it didn't do it. It expanded it, but it still would have. It should have done the equivalent of me clicking it twice. Yeah, it's not working. At least it should no longer be like locking the scroll bar. Yeah, so it's not locking the scroll bar anymore. So how do I fix this? It's in draw row. Actually, is it in draw row? I guess it's wherever this thing is changed. Right there. So this was somehow true when it should not have been. Right? Because this is only set to false once. Or none once. If scrolled was set to true, we initialized it to false. It's only set to true. Context scrolled is true. So it's only set to draw row set it. Only there. Okay, so then I think what I want to do is make sure that it actually is being called when it shouldn't. So when I click it the first time, it's probably going to print it even though it shouldn't, because not all the row ancestors are expanded at that point, right? Oh wait, maybe it's not only expanded, but it has to do one more layout phase. Yeah, I should have resized the window before I did that. Okay. Okay, then this is wrong. Let's dbg this. I'm gonna guess it's always gonna say true. And it's never gonna say false. Because it's always expanding right away. And it's not that it's expanded, it's that it has to lay out after expanding. Yeah, okay. Then I did this wrong. It's not that this has to see that all the ancestors have expanded. It has to know that they've been all laid out. So that really is just a delay of one draw cycle. So then I have an idea what to do. We can make this scroll to not an option, but like some custom type. So it's either none, or it's scroll to something, or it's lay out one more time and then scroll to it. Enum scroll to state. None, I guess. Nothing. I don't want to reuse the word none. So it would be like we still need to lay out. row token. And then we can do a scroll. Okay, so this is now a scroll to state. Oh, to derive clone, copy, row token's copyable, right? It's just a usize. Equal, partial equal. Don't care about ORD. Okay, so this is going to be scroll to state nothing. This one is going to be if it's something. So I need to do a map, right? Or a match. Some token needs to go to scroll to state layout the token. None is scroll to state nothing. Could you explain enum to you? You're originally a Python dev, starting to approach more advanced data structures, learning C# in school, which is also why. Okay, it's a little bit different in Rust, what an enum is. So in a lot of other languages, an enum is just a fancy name for a number, where every value that the number can be has a different label. So if I got rid of this part, that's the same as an enum in almost any other language. It's really just saying that 0 means nothing, 1 means layout, scroll means, or 0 is nothing, 1 is layout, and 2 is scroll. It's like if you did this, whoops. Or in some languages you'll see an equal. It's really, we're just giving fancy names to different values, right? But in Rust, two more things are attached to this type. One is the fact that the value has to be one of these. It can't be 3. The other is that you can attach, think of it like attaching baggage to the value. So if a scroll to state is a layout, then it has an attached secondary value, a row token. A rough equivalent to that in like C would be if you had it without the attached data, and then you call this discriminator, and then you actually had scroll to state being a union or a struct with two things in it. You have a discriminator which, well, let me try to do it in C. It would be the type and then the value, right? And then you'd have a union in which you'd put the row token. Well, it's nothing, I guess. Layout. I guess you could do it this way. You can say that this is layout, and then delete to the end of the line, and this is scroll. So it's sort of weird because in this case there's the same type, but let's say we had a different type like XYZ, then you'd have type XYZ here, and there would be different types, right? So the Rust enum is equivalent to like a C or C++ struct with two things in it, a union with the attached data, and then the actual like C enumerator, which is really just a fancy named integer. So what we're doing under the hood is we have a complex type with two things in it. There's what we call the discriminator, which basically says which thing in the union are we actually holding, right? So there's really two pieces of information. There's there's a which one, right? Which is like, it's going to be a number from it's 0, 1, or 2, right? It's going to be a number, 0, 1, or 2. And then depending on the value of that number, we'll also have something filled into the union. So if you know C, C++, what a union is, it means this part of the structure, we only allocate memory for one of these things, and it'll be the largest, defines how big the union is, but these all have the same address. And which one you use depends on the value of something else, in this case, the discriminator. So by convention, you kind of combine the discriminator with the union. You say, well, if which is nothing, then you don't read into the union. If which is layout or 1, then you can read the layout. If it's 2 or scroll, then you can read the scroll value. So Rust does that all in one definition. And it makes it strict. You can't get to this row token unless the value is layout. You can't get to this XYZ unless the value is scroll. If it's nothing, then you don't have a row token or an XYZ. You can think of it as like an enum in Rust is a type that has several variations, and it can only be one of the variations at once. So a value of type scroll to state can either be nothing, it can be a layout with a row token, or it can be a scroll with a row token. But it can't be both. You can't have both a nothing and a layout at the same time. You can go from nothing to a layout if you assign it a row token. You can go from layout to nothing by discarding the row token and putting a nothing there instead. So yeah, I described it 3 different ways so that hopefully one of the ways I described it makes sense to you. I think it's kind of cool because the compiler makes sure that that every value of this type will always have one of these 3 variants. Depending on what variant it is, it'll always have a correctly initialized value that goes with that variant. So you don't get into situations you do in other languages like where you accidentally had a 3 and it's like, well, what is a 3? Well, it's not 0, 1, or 2, so what is it, right? And you can never accidentally like call it a layout but not have a row token attached. Yeah. All right, let's chase the errors down here. Okay, so here's where I wanted to do this. I wanted to do like, if it's scrolled, then we're going to move it. We're going to advance it a state, right? We're going to say self scroll to equals self scroll to match. Match goes in front, doesn't it? I knew that. So I don't need this crate in front. So if it's... Why am I getting these lines around it? Unreachable. Probably because of these to-dos. So let's remove the to-dos. And we'll just put in scroll to state nothing to begin with. Oh, wait. No, that's there. Oh, they're in different modules. So this has to import it. There we go. So yeah, if it's nothing, it stays nothing. If it's a layout, it becomes a scroll. And we carry the value over, right? If it was a scroll, then it goes to nothing, right? Because we scrolled. So that means I can move that to here and say or. So basically, if we scrolled and it was either nothing or scroll, it goes to nothing. If we scrolled, that's really a wrong name anyway. I should say like processed scroll state or something. Then if we laid it out, now we're scrolling to it. Yes. So this should be like if matches. Do we put this one first and the other one second? I think it's like this, but I always get it wrong. Scroll to state. Scroll to. Did I get that wrong? Collapse nested if block. There we go. Except for I can't do an equal. Oh, I can't use it. Okay, it can't be collapsed because I'm using that in there. So I need to suppress. I think I need to suppress this. It's not collapsible. I do have an error here though. What is the? I didn't mean to. I thought I should have been able. Do I have? I think I have this backwards. I think that's the problem. Okay. What? Copy. Paste. There we go. I guess this was the other way. Do I need to call that a ref or something? I want to use that here. So what am I doing wrong here? It can't find the value even though I put it there. Do I need to put an at? Okay, I'm totally not remembering how to do a matches. So we're gonna go to the doc. Actually, let's go to the book and just look for matches. Patterns and matching. That's a match arm. I want to matches. Okay, obviously it can't find with the exclamation mark. How about matches macro? Oh, here we go. That's declarative macros. That's not what I wanted. Can I just search for Rust matches? There we go. So I can't bind things in that expression? Can you bind names to parts of matches when using the matches macro in Rust? It's thinking. Does not directly support binding names to parts of matches because the matches macro is designed to be a simple tool for checking if you need it, you should do a match instead. Okay. All right. So that's an answer, all right. What's this 2 for? Why do I have a new tab? I don't know. So it's saying, basically saying match self scroll to. I think I do have to do an as ref, right? There is no as ref. Is this gonna force it to go? No, if I do the borrow, it'll work, right? Right. So then we have the scroll to here. And then in here I have body. This goes there. And then I have to have empty does nothing. Oh, what did it not like about this? I had not enough braces, that's why. And this goes again to dereference again. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's right. Replace make condition to match card? Replace if with match? No, I don't want to do either of those. Replace match with if let. Is that what I wanted to do all along? Probably. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what I wanted to do all along. But actually, I wanted to do it if it's scroll or layout. No, if it's layout, I don't want to do it. I want to delay it by one phase. Actually, what sets it to layout then? Something has to set it to layout, and I'm not doing that part. Oh, yeah, I'm setting it there. If you select it. Okay, then I guess this should work. So if I click it, it didn't do it. In fact, it's never scrolling to it. Yep, it's broken. It's broken. Let me think about this. So the first time you select it, it's going to go to the layout state, right? And it should expand it. This debug I don't need, right? Can I like do a dbg here? Or is that just going to, it's not even going to work there. Oh, wait, it's supposed to set that to true. Actually, I don't even need that variable then, because every time we set something in scroll to, it'll either we'll want to move it one state. Okay, so then I don't need this variable. Delete it. So delete it there, delete it there. Oh wait, no, I need it because it has to be in the draw context. Yeah, because we're not allowed to modify it in draw. Okay. Oh, it's so complicated. Yeah, okay. Go back. We're not allowed to modify self there. It's immutable. But we want to know if we found it, right? Actually, it doesn't matter if we found it. It doesn't. It doesn't matter if you found it. So then I don't need it. Doesn't not matter. Don't need to set it. So what this should be now is, since we just drew it, we either laid it out or so it should just always do this. Exactly, it should just always do that. Because one draw after it's been layout, then it would have expanded and we will know where it is, and then the draw two should work. So if I scroll this down and click there again, there we go, now it works. So the first draw, it expanded everything and then did nothing else because we have to expand everything to know how large the canvas is. So then the next draw, it says, oh, now it's in the scroll to state. So now we want to scroll to it now that it's expanded. Uh-oh, clicking there is not doing anything. Oh, wait, it clicked there, did do something, just took a long time. Did it actually enumerate all of the data to find that? So click up there, and now if I click at the last byte, no. Okay, so it's broken. It's broken in that if it doesn't need to scroll. Wait. Why is it working now? And it didn't work a second ago. Okay, now it's just sometimes not working at all. Oh, it's because I'm dragging the stupid mouse. Okay. If I drag the mouse, if I click and drag the mouse, it doesn't think I'm clicking it. That's all it is. Okay, never mind. It's all good. Now if I click over there, it's fine. And then that's fine. Okay. Phew. Ah, that took a while to figure out. So this is basically advancing a state machine. If we're not scrolling to anything, or we just scrolled to something, now we're no longer scrolling. If we're supposed to scroll to something and we need it to lay out first, now we're going to scroll to it. And then where this is used is only when we get to that scrolling state do we actually do the scroll to. So this is always going to be true. If it's not true, then we're not scrolling at all because it's not expanded and we won't be able to find it. Actually, I don't even think this is necessary because we wouldn't be asked to draw it unless all of its ancestors were expanded. So I'm just going to remove this. I think that's totally unnecessary. Yeah, we would. It's impossible to get to draw a row unless its ancestors are all expanded. So these are all unnecessary, it turns out. All right, I think I'm getting near the end of the refactoring, which means I probably want to end the stream. So sad. Hey, it works. I can click near the bottom of the file. I can click in the middle of the file somewhere. Let's find that Netscape. Where was that Netscape again? There it is. Finds it right there. 2.0. Cool. All right, anything else I want to refactor before I call it refactored? I probably want to sort these, right? These are all jumbled around now. Yeah, these are jumbled. Oh, the other thing I might want to do is break the context up into two pieces. There's the context that we set up at the very inside of draw main area, right? Sets up this context, but some of it is constant. Some of it is not. So there are three elements that are not constant. Actually, row number is also not constant. So four of these three plus this one are not constant, and the other ones are. So if I maybe divide the context into two pieces, then what I can do is I can add things like row height and Y and other things to it. You know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say I'm going to do this later. Break up data row. It's not data row context. Draw row context in a data tree up into the parts that are the same for all rows. And the parts that are different. Okay, so we'll do that later. This is where we do the layout, by the way. After we've drawn all the rows, then we actually take the row number, add one to it, and then that last canvas height feeds back into the next cycle up here. So that when we compute when we're allocating space, we use the previous canvas height. Well, this name is sort of not chosen correctly. It should be required or necessary canvas height or something, because it's set at the end of draw and used at the beginning. So it's like what the canvas height should be on the next draw, and then what the canvas height should be on this draw. We move into canvas size Y, and then we allocate that space. I'm looking through the file and I don't see any more horrible indentations. So I'm going to say that pass one of refactoring is done for this thing and then move on. Let's fix this up. So this should be super. Okay. So the visitor stuff is actually pretty simple, right? Yeah. No more R type. I could get this to count the row number for me. Maybe we'll do that because that's something that's sort of annoying that it doesn't do. Okay. So like when I use this, I'm always like setting up a row number and then incrementing it inside the closure and we're only using it inside the closure, right? To form the context. So why don't I just make it something that we get? So we get a row number just out of that directly, and we don't need to mutate it or add one to it inside here, right? So make this one give me a row number. So that would be here, let mute row number equals 0. And then this one gets a row number. And then we add 1 to the row number here. And then this has got to also get a row number. And it has to kind of use the one we already made. So let's do mutable access to row number. Because this has to get that row number. In order to pass it through here. And then pass along that mutable reference. And we have to increment it here. Row number plus equal 1 dereferenced. Return row number. Well, this is visitor pattern, so we're passing it into the visitor. We're telling the visitor what row number they're on. It's recursive, right? So every time we call the visitor, we're incrementing the row number. So we do it in the child rows and we do it in the root rows as well. The only difference between root rows and child rows is the level starts out at 0 and increases when we make a recursive call. And we look at the, where is it? Parent row children rather than self root. But either way, like the host can hold on to the row number and just give a copy to the visitor. So that makes the visitor a little bit simpler here. I don't have to have a row number. Oh, except for we needed it back out. Crap. I forgot about that side effect. We want to like have the total rows. Well, why don't we just have it return it like you just said? You're prescient, Vincent E. Dealencar. You knew that I would have to have like total rows, right? And that we would want to use that here. So this will return a usize, and that's easy. We just return the row number. Yep, you told me. You know what that means. You know what that means. A point is on the way to you. Now you have 10 points. All right, so this other place where we had like a row number we didn't need, right? Actually, no, this gets a row number it doesn't need. Yep. Only thing I'm worried about is being off by 1 in the layout, but I'll know that in a second. I might have to add 1. Yeah, see, we're not showing the header at the bottom. I do need to add 1. I was adding 1 before, and I'm like, do I need to add 1 there? Ah! Keyboard wrist rest is moving around. Yep, turns out we have to add 1 to that anyway. Is it really taking 7 seconds to compile? I guess it is. Yeah, there we go. For the very last one, and that should auto expand. If I click on Netscape, it should scroll up and expand to there. Nice. Correct behavior. Okay, I think I'm done. I need to take a break. I might be streaming later. but it kind of depends on several factors I don't have the answers to, and I don't really want to talk about on stream, but so I might be back later, or it might just be tomorrow morning. Actually, I don't even know if will I be able to stream tomorrow morning? Depends on what my schedule looks like. I think the answer is yes, I will be able to stream tomorrow morning. So I guess I should leave you with a cool picture. So we're going to look at logical screen descriptor, and we're going to look at the data, the Netscape identifier, while I find someone else to raid. Hope you enjoyed all this refactoring mess. We're gonna go say hi to the DevOps master himself, Alta for stream. I'll see you guys later, okay? Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please come back next time. Normally stream in the mornings, Pacific time, on the weekend, and some nights I'll also stream. So I'll see you later, okay? Bye.